So last class, I stressed on one thing, that is identification of electrodes. I'm going to say that once again today, that whenever, see, chapter is about electrochemistry. We are studying electrochemistry. And in this chapter, we would be very much every time talking about something called the electrolytic tank setup. Electrolytic tank setup. Okay. Few things which you should be absolutely clear about. This class was recorded. How many of you now touch your heart and say have watched, has attended first class? I'm excusing her. Or has attended the second class, or if it's not attended, at least seen the video. Agar nahi dekha hai na, to ye golden chance hai. You'll see an electrolytic tank setup. Okay, that would be something like this, in which we will have some sort of an electrolyte out here, and in this electrolyte we will have two electrodes being dipped. The whole discussion here about is, sir, which one is cathode and which one is anode? These will be actually connected. Okay, these will be actually connected to power sources. Usually children memorize it saying that cathode is negative, as I used to say, CN Cartoon Network, cathode is negative, and AP Andhra Pradesh, anode stands for positive. No, not like that. That is generally for a lower grade student. Always remember, cathode is that in which reduction will take place. Reduction means OIL. Sorry, reduction means RIG. Reduction is gain of electrons. Cathode is the electrode where reduction will take place. Always remember it like this. And anode is my electrode in which oxidation will take place. Oxidation means OIL. Oxidation is loss of electrons. Sir, why are you explaining it like this? Why are you not going by positive and negative? The reason being that you are seeing an electrolytic tank setup, and right now all that we are studying, 90% of those actually qualify for electrolysis. 90% of what we are going to study is all electrolysis. Not 90, in this chapter maybe 99% is electrolysis. What is electrolysis? ऐसा एक process where the input is electricity, and the output is a chemical reaction. Do you understand? In such type of electrolytic tank setups, obviously the cathode will be negative and the anode will be positive, which will be there in your book for everything that you study in this chapter. But don't do the mistake of learning that cathode is negative. Cathode ko negative karke nahi padhna hai. Cathode is the electrode where reduction takes place. Anode is the electrode where oxidation takes place. Such sort of tanks may be very misleading for you. These tanks are used for electrolysis. इस चैप्टर में हम टिश्यू चाहिए, इस चैप्टर में हम इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस ही पढ़ेंगे 99%. And in electrolysis also, this logic will hold true everywhere. This logic will always hold true, but the plus minus will not hold true everywhere. In electrolysis, cathode does form the negative electrode. And what is electrolysis? Here, whatever we are going to study, हम electricity supply करेंगे, chemical reaction होगा. Another thing that we study with these electrolytic tank setups are something known as electrochemical cells. At that time, we call them as electrochemical cells. Typically the battery that you have, the Duracell battery and other things, those are known as electrochemical cell. What is so special here? Here there is a process where chemical reactions are the input and electricity is the output. Do you get it? Chemical reaction is input, ulta hai iska. Chemical reaction is the input, electricity is the output. In such a case, the cathode still will honor reduction and the anode still will honor oxidation, but this time the cathode will become positive and anode will become negative. So positive negative analogy ko gale laga ke mat ghumiye, that is a misleading analogy. Reduction and oxidation, cathode always reduction, whether you are in electrolysis or you are in electrochemical cell. In electrolysis, it takes the negative route. So now you can say, sir, the formula which you used to say, Cartoon Network and Andhra Pradesh, Cartoon Network and Andhra Pradesh is applicable in electrolysis. समझ में आया? Not here. इसमें CP हो जाएगा, AN हो जाएगा. तो इतना नहीं पढ़ना है. Always remember anode and cathode. But in this chapter, whatever we are going to study, we will always see cathode as negative. Because what are we studying? We are studying electrolysis. Everywhere we'll study electrolysis. But in grade 11 and all, when you go and study electrochemical cells, then you'll suddenly say, sir used to say Cartoon Network. Here we are saying everything as cathode as positive because those are electrochemical cells. There electricity is supplied and chemical reaction is the output. Sorry, chemical reactions are the input and electricity is the output. This much understood. This was what I had discussed in last class also. I thought I should be telling you once again about this. Can I rub this? Okay, we go back. And we will be continuing our study of electrolysis. Electrolysis means lysis, splitting up with the help of electricity. Pyrolysis means organ cut jana. Lysis means compound cut jana. How? With the help of electricity. Tomorrow also we'll continue chemistry in case we are unable to finish the chapter. We won't be able to finish today. Okay. And from next class onwards, we'll go into a regular pattern. Right. Now, we see three cases here, children. First, we see molten salts. This we have already done in last class. Molten salts. But I thought that in order to understand today's class, थोड़ा सा pre-cap आपको जरूरी है. Molten salt. Molten salt कैसे salt थे हमारे ये? Molten ionic salt. Your textbook talks about PbBr2, lead bromide. Molten. Molten means there is no water in it. Only the salt which has been heated and the salt is now in liquid form. Have you understood? Whenever we actually do electrolysis of molten salt, whenever you do electrolysis out here, some takeaways you have to remember. Electrolysis of molten salts will actually create two types of ions. The metal positive ion, which will be your cation, right? And there will be the, I won't say non-metal, rather I would use the word halide. You know what is halide? किसी को पता है? Halide means from the halogen family. What is the halogen family? Group 17. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, they are all known as halogen. This comes from the halogen family. So a halogen salt is known as a halide. This is a halide salt, salt of halide group. ये लिख के रखिए. Halide is a word you should know. It comes from halogen, and if you need some more clarity, then halogen. Halogens are group 17. In your case, it will be 7b. Generally, we write group 17. So it's fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So salts of these elements are known as halides. So it will release Pb plus 2 plus, and then out here, what will I get? I will be getting Br minus, 2 Br minus we will be getting. Okay? And that's how it's matching the charge, 2 minus and 2 plus. Now you will find that PbBr2, when you actually make it molten, then it ionizes, and it will ionize into Pb2 plus, and it will form Br minus, I'm writing as 2 Br minus. Have you understood? This is a very simple case. Simple case because there are no other ions apart from lead ion and bromide ion. No other ion. So if you look at my electrolytic tank setup, so I had molten lead bromide out here, and I have my two electrodes. Obviously, one electrode is connected to the negative. Here it is known as the cathode, and this is connected to positive. So this is known as anode. यहाँ पे what all are present here, beta? Pb2 plus is present and Br minus is present. Common sense, you should now ask, who will go in which direction? Unlike poles attract. है ना? Sasra, football stadium, pink, so it will go this side. So Pb goes in which side? To this side. Right? And Br2 goes which side? This side. There is no big rocket science out here. This is easy to understand. While we understand this, we'll take a deeper dive upon how Pb, you'll see lead is getting deposited on this electrode and bromine gas will bubble out from this. Allergy ho gaya hai. Lead is getting deposited out here and bromine gas will be bubbling out from here. Have you understood? But this is lead ion. So let us see that reaction part also. After that only we'll be able to understand what is happening. This is last class data. but I'm covering it because unless and until you know this part, you won't be able to understand. Okay, so we see reaction at cathode. Okay, reaction at cathode. So at cathode, what is happening? Pb2 plus has to gain 2 electrons to form Pb. Right? Now put your common sense. This is reduction is gain of electrons. So at cathode what happens? Cathode में हमेशा ही बेटा reduction होगा. Electrochemical cell हो या electrolytic cell हो, electrolysis का cell हो. Have you understood? Let's see what is the reaction at anode. Reaction at anode. The reaction at anode is Br minus will lose 1 electron to form Br and loses 1 electron. Similarly, there will be another Br minus which will also lose an electron and become Br. These two Brs will then combine and form Br2, which is bubbling out at anode. Clear? Hey, you're not angry on me, na? Don't be angry. Br plus Br becomes Br2. Have you understood? These reactions are known as half reactions. What do we call them as? Half reactions. The definition comes. What are half reactions? Half reactions are the reactions that are taking place at the electrodes which depict oxidation as one half reaction and reduction as half reaction. Please understand, electrolysis as a whole is a redox reaction. So there will be reduction, there will be oxidation. समझ में आ रहा है? There will be oxidation, there will be reduction. The oxidation and the reductions happen at two individual electrodes. When you show the reactions separately, they are known as half reactions. If you add the half reactions, you get what? The full reaction. वो भी अभी हम देखेंगे, ठीक है? Let's see that part also. So इतना समझ में आया कि नहीं बोलो बेटा? Now we have to see what happens to the electron. Where does the electron come from? Have you understood this part or not? This part is understood? Okay. Now let me then write my oxidation half reaction. So my oxidation half reaction is Pb 2 plus, gains 2 electrons and forms Pb. First understand the logic. Lead bromide, molten lead bromide will give you ions to float across. An ionic compound does not conduct electricity when it is in solid form. To conduct electricity, electric current must be allowed to go. What is current? Flow of anything is called current. Don't go to the river. The river has got current. Means what? Water is flowing. So current means something has to go. What is that something? Charge or charge carrier. In a conductor, electrons flow. In an electrolyte, ions flow. So unless and until something flows, current will. So if you take salt and you pass electricity through it, nothing will happen as long as it is in solid state. But if it is able to release ions, that is either you have made the salt moist, or you have made the salt a solution, or you have melted the entire salt and it's now molten state, then also ions will be created. This is a case of molten ionic salt. इसमें एक चीज याद रखिए, पानी नहीं है, no water trace at all. It's only the salt which has been heated and melted. Clear? So let's see our oxidation half reaction is this. And if you see your reduction half reaction, what is the reduction half reaction? 2Br minus becomes Br2 by losing 2 electrons. Clear? ठीक है? अब आप इन दोनों को ऐड करके ही देख सकते हैं. This is your complete reaction. Pb plus Br2, it splits up as this. This is your full reaction. Understood? Now let us see where does this electron come from also. क्योंकि ये clear होने से आप बाकी चीज और आसान से समझेंगे. Now let us draw the external circuit and try to understand that. Where did it go? Out here. Okay, let me draw now the electrolytic tank setup. Okay. Now this is one electrode and this is one electrode. Okay. And say suppose this is my power supply. Get the logic first. And let's say this is positive and this is negative. So out here, what do we see? In this, the reaction that is happening is Pb2 plus gains 2 electrons and gives you what? Pb. And out here, what is the reaction? Br minus becomes Br and gives 1 electron. Okay? So to make it better, I am writing 2Br, 2Br, 2 electrons because hisab barabar hona hai. Now let us understand. This is my power source. A power source never creates electrons. A power source acts like an electron pump. Acts like an electron pump. So you remember what I told you about direction of flow of electricity? The direction of flow of electricity is always opposite to the flow of electrons. Anyway, if you don't remember that also, still we can apply our common sense. Electrons will be repelled from the negative side. Do you agree or not? So my electron is repelled from the negative side. Okay? Electron is repelled from this side. यहाँ तक electron है, ऐसे अंदर आ गया है. Electron is repelled from the negative side. Have you understood? And electrons will be attracted to the positive side. That means यहाँ पे कोई तो electron होगा. This electron is coming, electron is coming, electron is coming, electron is coming. So this is what we call as the conventional electron current. But electricity is always from positive to negative. This is the electron current, negative to positive. Now question comes, sir, how is the circuit completed? The electrons are going from here till here. उसके बाद तो और कोई इलेक्ट्रॉन का जगह नहीं है. अच्छा, यहां से यहां क्या हो रहा है जरा देखो तो. This is a conductor, solid, 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 solid. So in solid, conduction happens due to electrons. So the entire game of electron will be played till this part. यहाँ तक electron का game है. Have you understood? It's like something like, don't now I'm giving an example, but it's nothing related to you. It's like a soccer match only. Up till here, midfield is taking the ball. From here, striker has to move. But it has to go there. ना electron तो वहाँ पे जाना पड़ेगा. वहाँ कौन लेके जाएगा? That part we still don't know. Again, electron game starts from here and ends here. So electrons are moving here. Here, children, this part is the electrolyte part. In electrolyte, conduction happens due to ions. Bromine has actually released that electron out here. समझ में आया? Bromine ion or bromide ion, that Br minus, the Br minus travels to this particular electrode, and like a cuckoo bird, it lays its egg. Electron यहाँ छोड़ देता है. This electron then gets repelled and comes this side, means 2 electrons. And the 2 electrons then get repelled here, where lead ions are sitting like snake. दोनों इलेक्ट्रॉन को खा रहा है. This is electrochemistry. Till here to here, it's an electron game. And here now how is the circuit getting completed? Obviously it is getting completed. We are having an electron flow till here. And here who is doing the magic? The splitting of the ionic compound. Ions are doing the magic. Up till here to here, electron is responsible. Here who are responsible? Pb2 plus and Br minus. In our case, for every Pb2 plus, you need 2 Br minus. ये गेम समझ में आया कि नहीं? तभी आपका ये इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस होता रहेगा, वरना तो ऐसे ऐसे जाके सर्किट इज ब्रोकन. यहाँ पे वेयर इज द करंट फ्लो? हियर सर द करंट फ्लो हैपेंस ड्यू टू आयंस. Bromine gave an electron deposit out here. Rather, 2 bromines gave 2 electrons. These 2 electrons were pulled in by this power supply. So if you switch off the power supply, the electron pump doesn't work. यहीं पे electron बैठा रहता है. Electron तो इधर जाएगा ही नहीं. We have to move the electron till here. For that, we create a potential difference. A boy on top floor and a ball on the top floor and the ground floor. The ball is supposed to roll down from top floor to the ground. Potential difference. नीचे से ऊपर तो जाएगा नहीं कभी भी. So here also we maintain potential difference. A battery maintains potential difference. It's kicking the electrons from this side and this side is attracting. ये गेम कब तक चलेगा? जब तक ये ions है, number 1, या फिर जब तक इसके पास power supply है. If you switch off the power supply, the electron pump बंद हो गया. यहाँ पे electron आगे फंस. This was our story number 1. Electrolysis of molten salts. This story we will keep continuing. The only thing now that will change is that right now it was only a match between Pb2 plus and Br minus. Have you understood? But in the next examples, there will be more players who will come into play. At this stage, bacha, any questions? Srinika, never worry about asking. They don't understand. You think that, no, this was from the previous class. I was not present. I should not have asked this. No. And if you think that I get angry and all, my anger and all, best examples are, Kirtan knows, Kirtan can write books. Kirtan, do I ever get angry? He says never. See. It's all volatile. यहां तक कोई सवाल पूछना है तो पूछो. Anything that is eating your head? Ashmita, have you understood this logic? Anyone else? So in your topic, you have to study electrolysis of molten salt. 1 minute, Bitu. Electrolysis of water and electrolysis of salt solution. अभी आपने सिर्फ molten salt पढ़ा है, 2 और पढ़ने हैं हमें, और तीसरा वाला जाके थोड़ा सा complicated हो जाता है. But if your understanding is correct, you will be able to go in your school and explain that on board. Are we ready to onboard to the next one now? We are slowly going towards the burial ground. Are we ready to go to the next one? Yes, you want to say something, Madam Ashmita?
Actually, I understood, but like I'm still a little.
Okay, what are you doubtful about? You tell me first. What did you understand? You tell me, then I'll clear from what is your doubt. क्या समझे? You may be wrong, beta. Don't hesitate. आप गलत हो सकते हो. बोलो.
Yeah, so there's like the cathode and the anode. So the cathode is.
No, there is no cathode and anode. वही सबसे पहला mistake है. सुनिए, there are 2 electrodes.
Yeah.
I have an electrolytic tank setup. My electrolytic tank just looks like the aquarium in my house, chota wala aquarium, which is a glass tank. It has some electrolyte inside it, and I have dipped 2 electrodes in it, right?
Yes.
This sort of setup shall be used for an electrolysis process also, shall be used for an electrochemical cell purpose also. What is an electrolysis process? A process in which in this tank I will give electricity as an input and I will observe chemical reactions. What is electrochemical cells? Certain chemical reactions will take place and electricity will come out as output. Have you understood?
Yes.
In this chapter, 99% we will be on electrolysis. That is, we will be supplying electricity and we will be getting chemical reactions. Is this understood?
Yes.
In such a case, we should now define what are these 2 electrodes. We say that cathode is the electrode where reduction happens. Reduction means gain of electrons happen. Is this clear? Cathode is the electrode where reduction happens. Sir, is it true for both the type of cells? Yes. It's a omni acceptable truth. Cathode में reduction ही होएगा, तो एनोड में क्या होएगा? ऑक्सीडेशन ही होएगा. इसके लिए भी ऑक्सीडेशन होगा, इसके लिए भी ऑक्सीडेशन होगा. Now comes the current polarity. In an electrolysis case, we follow the convention of Cardoon network in Andhra Pradesh. Cathode becomes negative. And rather in grade 10, you will see all cases where cathode is negative. When you go to grade 11, you will suddenly see cathode is getting positive. So don't break your head. You first ask, ये पढ़ा क्या रहा है? Electrolysis or electrochemical? That question itself will answer it. If you observe that cathode is positive, then it's an electrochemical cell. Right now, this is a remote control of my television. इसको ऐसे खोले तो अंदर ड्यूरासेल का बैटरी है, ठीक है? This battery has got a positive. This is an electrochemical cell. The positive of this will be called not anode, cathode. समझ में आया? यही डिफरेंस है. The car battery that you have in your car, it is a big electrolytic cell. उसमें the battery that is there, ये जो पीछे पड़ा हुआ है, the inverter battery, that is an electrolytic cell. इसका जो पॉजिटिव है वो कैथोड है, पर इसके कैथोड में भी रिडक्शन होता है, यहां भी रिडक्शन होता है. तो रिडक्शन इज राम सत्य. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, very good. Anyone else has any doubt? Okay, no doubt. Then can we move ahead? तुम च्यवनप्राश खाया करो. इधर ही आके नहीं. You and my daughter will all have the same problem. Problem is you all will not listen what I'm saying. Anything is triggers you. You have dust triggering है आपको. ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं. Now we go into electrolysis of solutions. Okay, we go to electrolysis of solutions. Before that, we will see some more thing. Electrolysis of salt solution. Now, ask yourself a question. Sir first took what? Sir ने पहले लिया molten salt. Now he is going to torture us with salt solution. Why did this ख्याल come in his mind? because these are the only two forms in which this particular ionic compound is going to conduct electricity. Sir cannot take solid salt. Have you understood? तो इसका कहानी तो हो चुका है. इसमें in your book you will be reading about the salt called sodium chloride. After that they will give you a table by which you can decode what is going to happen for any such salt solution, sodium chloride, right? Now when we talk about this word called solution, then all the solutions that we are making are aqueous solutions. Aqueous solution. Aqueous solution मतलब क्या है? Sir पानी आ गया है इसमें. Solution made in water is called an aqueous solution. This solution can be concentrated or this can be dilute. ये solution concentrated भी हो सकता है और ये solution dilute भी हो सकता है. क्या आप okay है मेरे साथ अब तक? We are making NaCl, salt, dipped in water. Salt water. Salt water is known as aqueous solution of sodium chloride. So I'll write this as something like this. In my example, I will write it as NaCl with a suffix called AQ, AQ standing for aqueous. Have we understood? Shastra, happy to? Then you make that face as well. Tomorrow in class, there will be heavy discussion. You know what right he has? He's only a teacher. He thinks he can supervise anything. And if I'm coughing too much tomorrow while having food, that means it is an auto indicator how much Nidhi is speaking in my name in the school. Are you kidding? Yes. So this is concentrated and dilute. Understood? When we make concentrated solution of NaCl, the word we actually use is brine. How many of you have watched web series Stranger Things? Yes, in Stranger Things, you'll hear about this thing called brine. That girl, whenever she has to hallucinate, she will be made to float in brine. Brine means what? They keep on pouring sacks and sacks of salt into that swimming pool. And then they watch whether it has become concentrated. So the density of that swimming pool will go up so much that they will then throw one egg to see whether the egg is floating or not. That's called brine. So अभी हम लोग brine के साथ काम करेंगे, ठीक है? We'll deal with brine. Sir, why are you not dealing with dilute? We will deal with dilute also. पहले brine के साथ deal करेंगे. लेकिन इस brine के साथ deal करने से पहले हमारे साथ तवाब में एक हड्डी आ गया है. This is H2O. Let us look at H2O. H2O itself, pure water, does not conduct electricity. That does not mean pure water does not ionize. Pure water does ionize. It ionizes to hydrogen ion and hydroxide ion. But this is a reversible process, we say, when which very less amount of ions will ionize. Very, very few. Pure water होने से भी. And this much of ionization is not sufficient to give an electric shock to Dhruv. That means current cannot pass with this much of ionization. समझ में आ रहा है? Then you have learnt about electrolysis of water. When current is passed through water, it splits into its constituent compounds or elements of what? Hydrogen and oxygen. अगर पानी कंडक्ट ही नहीं करता है तो पानी का इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस हुआ कैसे? See, you should ask questions. Pure water does not conduct electricity. Then how did you electrolyze pure water? Well, how we electrolyze pure water is by a process called acidifying pure water. That means you will add an acid to it. And this acid in our book, they have mentioned about dilute H2SO4. Have we understood? Now you put acid in water, water becomes acidic. And an acidified water can very quickly catch electricity. So our water is now ready to get electrolyzed. Any doubt in this one, what I have said so far? कहानी की तरह सुनते जाइए, ठीक है? So this is a setup. The setup is done something like this. That you know, there is like this sort of two electrodes will be there. What is it? 1 minute. Okay. You'll get a better diagram. And okay, so here you will have the entire thing will be, they will mention this as H2SO4, but this is all dilute H2SO4. Dilute H2SO4. And in the process of dilute H2SO4, there will be two electrodes, and these are platinum electrodes. The details of this you will be learning in grade 11. This is a standard hydrogen electrode. We say this is platinum electrodes are used. So one electrode will be obviously connected to the positive part, one is connected to the positive, and one is connected to the negative of the power bank. Does this look like an electrolytic setup? Yes, it looks like an electrolytic setup where the electrolyte. Oh, electrolyte क्या है इसमें? Sir, it is actually, somebody may call it dilute H2SO4, dilute sulfuric acid. You can also say acidified water. This is acidified water. ठीक है? After turning electricity, what we observe out here is that this part. Okay. So I should make it a little bit like this. The respective gases will start forming on each electrode. So hydrogen gas will be formed on the -1, hydrogen will be formed on the -1, and oxygen will be formed on the +1 in a proportion which is H2O. मतलब इसका और इसका part में hydrogen is double H2O and oxygen एक बनेगा. So 1:2 part में you will see hydrogen and oxygen. This setup is known as a, what was it? Hoffman voltmeter. Yeah, it's known as Hoffman voltmeter. If I'm not wrong. Hoffman voltmeter, right. This is known as a Hoffman voltmeter. So this is a setup in which what we are trying to do, we are trying to do electrolysis of water. In your book, this will be written as electrolysis of dilute sulfuric acid. Nothing is wrong, beta. कोई चीज wrong नहीं है. You can call it as electrolysis of dilute sulfuric acid, or you can also call it as electrolysis of water, acidified water. ठीक है? Salt solution में थोड़ी देर बाद आ रहे हैं. This is electrolysis of dilute sulfuric acid. Now tell me, now from here you have to start thinking what is present out here. Okay, what will be the match? This is important. We have water. Now water is going to conduct electricity. So water splits up into H plus and OH minus, and we have H2SO4. H2SO4 is going to split up as 2H plus and SO4 2 minus. अभी देख रहे हैं डिफरेंस क्या हो रहा है. पिछले वाले केस में it was only Pb plus 2 plus and Br minus. Now you have got H plus, these two are same, huh? OH minus and SO4 2 minus. Question is, कौन किधर जाएगा और कहां अट्रैक्ट होगा? Who will get discharged? Who will get reduced? Who will get oxidized? The whole question and understanding is of this. So our actors now in this particular case, so for some time I'm removing electrolysis of salt solution. Let us understand this first. So here, when we are trying to do for acidified water, or you can also call it as electrolysis of dilute H2SO4, you are getting H plus as the cation and you are getting SO4 2 minus and OH minus as the anions. Are we fine? One thing right now you have to just accept. Don't ask me why. You will understand it little bit, maybe another 40-30 minutes from now, if permits today or maybe tomorrow. We will observe कि हमें observe करके दिख रहा है. अगर आप अच्छी तरह से देखो, you are finding hydrogen has got liberated out here and oxygen has got liberated out here. इसका मतलब सल्फेट का तो पत्ता कट गया, इसका कुछ नहीं हुआ. समझ में आ रहा है? Hydrogen H plus being positive, it actually went towards the negative electrode. It went towards cathode and underwent reduction. OH minus went towards anode and underwent oxidation. OH minus, whenever it gets oxidized, will give oxygen. Remember this. H plus, whenever it goes reduction, will form H2. तो ये दो निकला. कैसे निकला अब वो देखेंगे. So what is the takeaway till the discussion so far? Sir, the ions that are going to come up in this type of an electrolysis are hydrogen ions, hydroxide ions, sulfate ions. The observation of the experiment shows us that we only got oxygen and hydrogen, which means sulfate ions got lost out in this battle or in this race. Clear? So far, any questions? Okay, why sulfate got lost out? That question, please keep it parked. But we will see what happened at cathode and what happened at anode. Are we ready? I have to rub the screen. ठीक है? ये reaction आपके लिए बहुत important है. Whenever you are going to study again, what you call hydrogen fuel cells, you will again need it. So at cathode, let's see what happened. at cathode, half reactions at cathode. And H plus, you remember na, actors कौन-कौन थे? H plus, OH minus, SO4, 2 minus. Rather अगर आप H plus को देखो ना, H plus has come from water also, H plus has come from acid also. अच्छा, one unique thing, ऐसे discussion करते वक्त, what is an acid? An acid is a substance which is sour in taste. Don't give that baby answer. Acid is something which can release an H plus in an aqueous solution. What is an H plus? अच्छा से सोचो तो what is H plus? Hydrogen as an atom has got one electron, one proton, no neutron. So when an hydrogen is deprived of its electron, we call it H plus. Is it not only a proton? सोच के देखो. Hydrogen, inside the nucleus, one proton and one electron. If this electron is taken out, it becomes what? H plus. What is it carrying with it? Only one proton. This fellow is also known as a proton. Therefore, in higher classes, when they say release of protons or becoming acidic, we call this process as protonation. Protonation means acidifying. All acids will have H plus. ऐसे आप देख के लिखो. Hydrochloric acid will split into H plus plus Cl minus. H2SO4 will split as 2H plus plus SO4 2 minus. HNO3 nitric acid will split as H plus NO3 minus. H3PO4 phosphoric acid will split as 3H plus plus PO4 3 minus. What is interesting in this discussion is that any acid you take for electrolysis, H plus तो आएगा ही. समझ में आया? And all those acids that you will take them as dilute acid. So you can read the solution as either dilute acid or acidified water. और water खुद भी एक H plus छोड़ता है. तो भाई साहब H plus तो आपके क्लब में है. OH minus, obviously water is going to release. This SO4 2 minus depends upon the type of acid that we are using. It's very interesting and very important. If it is a hydrochloric acid, instead of SO4 2 minus, I will get Cl minus. If it is nitric acid, I'll get NO3 minus. Cambridge does not discuss this acid. We will be discussing these three. And if it is nitric acid, I will get NO3 minus. सब में अलग-अलग चीज आएगा, उसको देखते हैं. So at cathode, what is happening? At cathode, hydrogen is gaining one electron and forms an hydrogen atom. This is hydrogen atom. Another hydrogen gains an electron and forms hydrogen atom. Two hydrogen atoms combine together to form hydrogen gas. This is what is getting liberated at cathode. Understood? This reaction is easy. जो बच्चा गड़बड़ करता है वो है एनोड का रिएक्शन. एनोड रिएक्शन is tough. Tough means how to remember. At anode. Now tell me, at anode who will go? This fellow chose to go towards cathode. Why did this fellow go towards cathode? Because cathode is negative in this cell. This fellow will go towards anode. Why anode? Because anode is positive. What about this fellow? इसका तो पत्ता कट गया, ये नहीं जा सकता है. ये क्यों नहीं जाता है आगे देखेंगे, अभी जस्ट मान लो नहीं जाता. तो एनोड का रिएक्शन क्या होगा? अच्छा, तो कैथोड में क्या हुआ? कैथोड में हुआ गेन ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन. गेन ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन को हम क्या बोलते हैं? रिग. रिडक्शन. Can you follow this? Rig means reduction is gain of electron. Rig means reduction is gain of electrons. ठीक है, लिख लीजिएगा. Now at anode क्या होने वाला है? Anode reaction is interesting. In anode we will have 4 of H minus. ये reaction याद रखना पड़ेगा. 4 OH minus. We are not showing it with 1 OH minus. We are showing with 4 OH minus. 4 OH minus will give you 2 H2O plus O2 plus 4 electron. ये आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा. And I'll tell you how to remember. So all our OH are losing electrons. Loss of electron. So Shrinika, we call it as oil. Oil means oil rig, you know na? Oxidation is loss of electron. Oil rig means in oil fields we have that big structure that's called an oil rig. Dubai वगैरह में जो आप देखते हैं ना ऐसा structure, that's called an oil rig. Oxidation is loss. So here loss of electrons is taking place. This is the half reaction of anode. This is the half reaction of cathode. Cathode's half reaction is easy. Anode's half reaction is tough. Now if you combine these two reactions, now when we combine the two reactions, कैसे combine करेंगे? We will combine this reaction and this reaction. For that, first make the number of electrons equal. So we will write 4H plus 4 electrons will give you what? 4 hydrogens. 4 hydrogens. 4 hydrogens can be understood in what manner, बच्चा? बोलो तो 4 hydrogens मतलब क्या है? What does 4 hydrogen mean? 2H2. 2H2. Clear? And what is the reaction anode wala? 4OH minus gives rise to 2H2O plus O2 plus 4 electrons. 4 electrons ने 4 electrons को काट लिया. We are adding these two reactions. Now add the two reactions. You get 4OH minus plus 4H plus is actually 2H2 plus 2H2O plus O2. Now just add what is 2H2 and 2O2. Aren't these two going to give you another 2H2O? 2H2 and O2 will give you one more H2O. One more H2O, one more H2O. ये balance होके आपका हो जाता है water molecule. 2H2O, 2H2O, 4H plus 4H minus. This part they will not ask you, but this reaction is mandatory. You have to learn this. ये बहुत बार आएगा अभी. Whenever a hydroxide ion gets oxidized, this is the reaction. Whenever hydrogen gets reduced, this is the reaction. This is easy to remember. This is a little bit tough. ये part आपको कोई नहीं पूछेगा. So, shall we see this once again? ठीक है? एक बार फिर से देखो कैसे इसको याद रखते हैं. At cathode we are going to have hydrogen ion accepts one electron and becomes H. इसके बाद आप बाकी बना लोगे. This is the parent equation. And the parent equation at anode. Now I'll show you how to write it. OH. Remember the formula 4214. क्या याद रखोगे? 4214. 4 of OH gives 2 of H2O, 1 of O2 and 4 of OH minus. 4214. H2O, O2, OH minus. Sorry, not OH. क्या लिख रहा हूँ? Electrons. 4 of electrons minus. This is the reaction. Clear? So what this reaction is known as the electrolysis of water. If you combine the two, what is electrolysis of water? What have you learned in junior grade so far? You learned that 2H2O when passed electricity will give you 2H2 plus O2. इसको दोनों को कंबाइन करने से ये रिएक्शन आता है. आप करके देख सकते हैं. Shall I combine these two and show you also? Okay, let's combine these two now. So before combining, we have to make the number of electrons 4H, 4 electrons, 4 hydrogens. So I can write 4H plus 4 electrons gives me 2H2, 4 hydrogens, correct? And on this side, what is the reaction we have? We have 2H2O plus O2 plus 4 electron. And on this side, we have 4OH minus. So the first thing, 4 electrons and 4 electrons cut each other. So what do we get here? 4H plus 4OH minus gives me कितना हुआ? 2H2O. 2H2O. Okay, 4H plus 4. 2H2O plus O2 plus 2H2. Okay. And 4H plus electrons on this side, electrons on this side. Around 4H plus. क्या होगा गड़बड़ी? उससे गड़बड़ी हुआ है. नहीं. हाँ. 2O2 will give you H2O. हाँ. 2H2 plus O2 is 2H2O ना. ये हो गया कितना आपका? 2H2O plus 2H2. This is 4 times of H2O. 2H2 plus O2 is another 2H2O. This 2 is what? This is another 2H2O. Agreed? So how much is the count here? 8 now. तो ये ठीक है ना? 8 ये भी हो गया 4H plus 4OH minus. Now you see 8 hydrogen, oxygen talent. 4 oxygen, 4 oxygen. This is electrolysis of water. But what they may ask you is half reaction at cathode, half reaction at anode. We don't show them as balanced. If you want to combine them, then we balance it with the number of electrons. आप जब लिखेंगे, you will only write half reaction at cathode. You do not write it as 4E. So what you will write is at cathode, your reaction at cathode will be just like this. H plus gains an electron and forms hydrogen. That's it. Further, you can write similarly another H plus gains an electron, forms hydrogen. These two hydrogen combine together to form H2, which is liberated. Whereas here, bottom line of the story is during electrolysis of water, hydrogen ions will go towards the negative electrode. Hydroxide ions will get discharged at the positive electrode. And so let me write some summary so far. So the summary of our discussion so far. Summary. If I am having molten salt, then metal will always travel to negative electrode. Metal will travel to negative electrode, and the halide, the metal plus and the halide minus will go to positive electrode. In this electrode, it will undergo reduction, that is Rig. In this electrode, it will undergo oxidation, that is OIL. Are we clear on this? If you are taking dilute acid, and in your case, we are discussing only HCl, then we discuss H2SO4, and we discuss HNO3. For the time being, just park HCl on one side. We will just park HCl on one side for the time being. Okay, we'll talk about H2SO4 only. In this case, you will have only metal plus and halide minus. In this case, you will have H plus, then OH minus, and SO4 2 minus. Out of these, only these two will be the lucky ones to get discharged. We are not talking HNO3 now. After some time, I'll tell you. HCl also keep it suspended. SO4 will not go. Why it will not go? अगले episode में देखेंगे. These two will be the lucky ones. So H plus gains an electron and becomes H. This is reduction. And obviously this H plus means this is going to happen at the negative electrode. And the negative electrode here is nothing but the cathode. Okay. Again, I'm writing 4OH minus. Bolo. Now you start remembering and telling me 4214. 4OH minus will give me 2H2O plus O2 plus 4 electron. So this will happen at the positive electrode, which is the anode. And one fine takeaway from here is whenever OH is getting discharged, oxygen gas will be evolved. ये short question पूछ सकता है. If OH is not discharged, will you get oxygen? No, no, no. Oxygen will only come when OH is getting discharged. अगले वाले एग्जाम्पल में इस OH के साथ कोई और भी लड़ने आ जाएगा और वो OH को बोलेगा stay back. That means in that, will you get oxygen? No. So one more thing that we found from here is a metal always, either a metal or a hydrogen. ये दो ही हमेशा कहाँ निकलता है? At the cathode. Either metal will go out or hydrogen will go out. When does metal go out? Sir, when I'm using a molten metal. When does hydrogen go out? Sir, when I'm trying to electrolyze either a dilute acid or acidified water. Now remember what I wrote at the start of the class, electrolysis of salt solution. आपको just 1 minute और, I know it is 8 o'clock, just one, because I gave ज्ञान also, just 1 minute more. Our next episode will talk about salt solution. Salt means I will have a metal plus and I will have a halide minus. Solution means I will have H plus and OH minus. भाई साहब इस बार तो जॉइंट फैमिली वाली लड़ाई आ गई, 2 भाई और 2 बहुएं भी है. Are you understanding? It's a big fight now. H plus will compete with, so far in the first example it was only M plus, आराम से निकल गया. Second example it was only H plus, आराम से निकल गया. Reminds me of one joke, there was one तोता, the parrot, parrot, cockatoo. So उसके एक पाँव में रेड कलर थ्रेड बंधा हुआ है, एक पाँव में ब्लू कलर थ्रेड बंधा हुआ है. तो ध्रुव जैसा बदमाश बच्चा goes and pulls the blue वाला, तोता says राम 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 राम, pulls the green वाला, the red वाला says कृष्ण 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 कृष्ण. सोचा दोनों एक साथ पुल करूंगा तो राम कृष्ण बोलेगा, पर तोता वो नहीं बोला. तोता बोला एक कमीने मेरे दोनों टांग पकड़ के क्यों खींच रहे हो, मैं गिर नहीं जाऊंगा. तो यहाँ भी ऐसा ही होगा. पहले वाले में तो हाइड्रोजन निकल गया, दूसरे वाले में पहले वाले में मेटल निकल गया, दूसरे वाले में हाइड्रोजन. अब की बार जो आएगा ना वो सॉल्ट सॉल्यूशन आएगा, ब्राइन. That means in our tomorrow's episode we are going to have Na plus, we'll have Cl minus, we will have H plus, we will have OH minus. अगले एपिसोड में देखिए इनमें से कौन बनता है बिग बॉस के घर में और कौन एविक्ट होता है. मजेदार. Chemistry is interesting. If you love it, then you'll like it. We have to see in these what will happen. अश्मिता समझ में आ रहा है ना अभी अगले मैच में क्या होने वाला है? मेटल भी है, ये भी है. And I'll tell you what will happen. अगले केस में ये निकल जाएगा, ये निकलेगा, ये दोनों रह जाएगा. Sodium will not be able to catch the bus and OH will not be able to catch the bus. Then you should ask me why this preferential treatment. That time I will answer you क्यों सल्फेट यहां पे रह गया. भाभी आप पिक्चर देखने चले जाइए, मैं घर का सारा काम करूंगी. सल्फेट ने ये बलिदान क्यों दिया, जानने के लिए अगला एपिसोड